When did love stop being enough? For me, it was the slow unraveling of my first real relationship, the kind that made me believe love could solve anything until it didn't. I met her when I was 19. She was the kind of person who lit up every room. Funny, bold, magnetic. I was quieter, steadier, the type who liked structure and plans. We came from different worlds, but somehow we clicked instantly. She made life feel like an adventure, and I gave her the stability she said she never had. In the beginning, that balance felt like magic. Our early days were everything people romanticize about young love. We'd take long drives with no destination, windows down, music blasting, just talking for hours about everything and nothing. We'd sneak into old movie theaters, share milkshakes at 2 a.m., and laugh so hard we'd wake the neighbors. When we finally moved in together, our apartment was small and falling apart, the kind of place where the floor creaked, the oven smoked, and the heater rattled all night, but we didn't care. We made it ours. We strung Christmas lights across the walls, covered the fridge in doodles and sticky notes with silly love messages, and treated every broken down piece of furniture like it was treasure. There's one memory that sticks out. A weekend trip we took with barely any money. We couldn't afford a hotel, so we camped by a lake in a tent that leaked every time it rained. The zipper broke on the second night, and mosquitoes tormented us until dawn, but I swear it was one of the happiest weekends of my life. We cooked hot dogs over the fire, watched the stars reflected in the water, and she leaned her head on my shoulder like the world couldn't touch us. That's what love felt like then. Untouchable. But real life doesn't care how much you love someone. Slowly, cracks started to show. She dreamed of moving across the country, maybe even abroad, chasing opportunities wherever they appeared. I dreamed of building stability, finishing school, landing a steady job, saving for the future. She lived impulsively, quitting jobs when they drained her, spending money on adventures. I was the opposite, tracking every dollar, worrying about rent, losing sleep over bills. At first we laughed off those differences. You're the fire, I'm the earth, we'd say. But over time, the tension grew. I'd get anxious when she stayed out late, not because I didn't trust her, but because I worried about schedules and responsibilities. She'd get frustrated when I hesitated about trips or big moves, saying I was holding her back. Neither of us was wrong, but neither of us could bend enough without breaking a part of ourselves. The arguments grew more frequent. Sometimes they were about little things, the dishes, laundry, groceries, but the fights were never really about those things. They were about two different futures clashing under the same roof. She wanted freedom, I wanted security, and love, as strong as it was, couldn't erase that gap. The moment everything shifted is burned into my memory. We'd just fought about money again, rent was due, and I was panicking about our budget while she brushed it off, saying, "We'll figure it out." I sat on the couch with my head in my hands, exhausted, while she stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Her voice broke when she said, "I love you. I don't doubt that, but I don't think love is enough anymore." I wanted to argue, to promise I'd change, to convince her that love could fix it, but the words stuck in my throat because deep down, I knew she was right. We did love each other, deeply, but our dreams pulled in opposite directions, and no amount of love was going to erase that reality. We didn't break up that night, but we both knew it was coming. A few weeks later, we sat on the floor of our cluttered apartment, surrounded by half-packed boxes, crying as we divided up our things. There was no screaming, no betrayal, no villain in the story, just two people holding on to each other for the last time, knowing love wasn't enough to keep us together. The aftermath was brutal. For weeks, I'd reach for my phone to text her about something funny, only to remember I couldn't. The apartment felt unbearably empty. I'd wake up and instinctively roll over, expecting her beside me, only to find cold sheets. It was like living in a ghost town built from my own memories. But slowly, I began to understand the lesson. Love is powerful. It's the spark that starts everything. But it's not magic. It doesn't automatically fix misaligned goals, heal insecurities, or make two lives that want different things suddenly align. Love can start the fire, but without fuel, shared vision, respect, communication, patience, it burns out. Years later, I don't regret that relationship. It shaped me. It taught me that love is the foundation, but not the whole house. You need more than passion. You need compromise, teamwork, and sometimes the courage to walk away when staying together means losing yourselves. That was the moment love stopped being enough for me. And maybe, in its own way, that was the first time I understood what real love truly requires.